600 strong business membership organisation right in the heart of London's West End. We basically fund and invest in the area through our business members, and it brings about good growth and pride across the community in the West End. And our bid area expands from Green Park Station right down Piccadilly Circus, Leicester Square, and most recently into St Martin's. The main reason for it was we wanted to join Leicester Square and Covent Gardens. There was a real gap. There was no one really looking after that space. But also from a marketing point of view, we identified through our research that something like 70+% of people who visited Leicester Square also visited Covent Garden, but they travelled by public transport when in fact it only takes 5 minutes to walk through. So we thought it was a real opportunity to grow this area at the same time as encouraging people to walk rather than using the tube. It's a new area where it's in our first 5-year term, so unlike our other bid areas, Piccadilly and Leicester Square, we've been there for nearly 20 years. We're starting at ground zero, if you like, where we are looking at the absolute fundamentals of making the area clean, making it safe and making it attractive. The irony is, however, the area is ready because you just need to look down St Martin's Lane and the tenant mix, the offer is spot on for our consumer. So we've got the English National Opera, of course, international destination, and we've got our theatres, we've got our theatre cafe, we've got little independent restaurants and cafes, and it really makes for a very nice destination. What lets it down is its public realm, and that's where we've stepped in. So we've created, in partnership with the whole community, including our residents and businesses, we can just hear the music in the background, we've created a public realm scheme, really tailoring it to the purpose and the use of this space. We've got a lot of support for it. In fact, our private sector are financing a large proportion of it. We hope that the council will also support us and allow that to kickstart next year. National Portrait Gallery, hugely important for London and London's West End, and actually for the whole country. Huge developments taking place here. So they've decided to move the front doors to this side, so it's much more open. The plans are absolutely exquisite, and you know, when you see the plans, it looks like it has always been there, which I think is always the perfect litmus test for a good scheme. That will fit well. For us, it's hugely important because, again, it reinforces the importance of culture. Culture for us is at the absolute epicenter of the West End's success. Yes, we've got other sectors that perform economically well, but without culture at its heart, the West End really is nothing. And we experienced that during the pandemic, especially when we came out of the pandemic. Our business community suffered in terms of trying to recover until the live entertainment and cultural venues were able to reopen, and it really shone a light on how important it is. So the work that we're doing in Heart of London now, it would be no surprise, therefore, that culture is at the absolute epicenter of all of our plans, whether that is place shaping, sustainability. Of course, we've got our cultural plan, but our economic development as well. I interviewed the mayor, deputy mayor of New York only the other week, and I love the phrase that she used, which was, you can't have an economic recovery without a cultural recovery, and I give that a thumbs up. That's absolutely what we believe.
In 2020, we launched our cultural strategy. It was the first of its kind for a bid, and out of that came a public arts programme called Art of London. One of the principles in the strategy is gallery without walls. That's enabling galleries to spill out into the street, and it's all about audience development, getting new audiences into the galleries, but also making things feel a bit different in the West End every time people come to visit. And the strategy became our kind of lever out of COVID. So this year we're really excited for Art of London. We're 3 years into our Art of London programme, and the National Portrait Gallery are going to be the headline partner.
Here we have this iconic site, but it was a public toilet. and we certainly need plenty more of those, I have to say. But actually, the National Portrait Gallery have taken the opportunity to purchase this, and they'll be using it as part of their new scheme, which again is a fantastic idea. You know, you're going to have this new public realm, and this will play a critical part in it. It's sat on Charing Cross Road, a major thoroughfare for London, for central London. And it hasn't had any development or any investment for as long as I can find. You know, nobody knows when it was last developed. It was built for a different era. It was built for an era when everyone travelled by car or private transport. Our aspiration for the area is to widen the pavement, still allow the street to function as it needs to, but we don't need huge lanes of traffic or road for traffic purposes. Also, this is one of the most heavily polluted streets in the country, so we don't want to hang around too long. And that's not good enough for a world-class city anymore. We're walking into Leicester Square here from Cranbourne Street. This is really a space that really suffered during the pandemic, frankly, and you can see we do have vacant units. They are slowly but surely beginning to fill, but it really demonstrates that, you know, in the West End we have the same problems as many of the high streets might have. A lot of the restaurants have now popped back up. We'd like to see a good mix of restaurants. I think it's a good location for that, and it certainly services the needs of the visitor in the Leicester Square area. Traffic used to come right through up to here, and only in recent times was that changed. And yeah, it has some practical challenges, especially when you have premieres and you need the VIPs to be driven up, but exceptions can be made. But if you just look down, you can see how much space there is. You can see that there is opportunity for people to sit out and enjoy it. So here we are in Leicester Square. I suppose the epicenter for us of the West End. Again, challenged by the pandemic, but we can see that it's slowly but surely coming back. It is home of film and entertainment. I believe, or we felt, that it had kind of lost its way quite considerably. You know, what was it? What's it for? And we are trying to slowly but surely build on that home of film and entertainment. Its kind of heritage and historical offer. It's the only statue of Gene Kelly in the world, and we had to seek approval from his wife, Patricia Kelly, and she made us work very hard to get it absolutely right, but what she wanted was for us to capture the twinkle in his eye, which everybody knew Gene Kelly for, and I think she was right to do that because I think it's one of the best statues that we have here. You know, this road leads to Haymarket, again, another very busy road from a vehicular point of view, but our aspirations is to create an art quarter which really links together the Mayfair galleries with Royal Academy of Art, linking through into St James's. There's hundreds of commercial galleries in St James's, across into this area, which would be the art quarter itself, and then next door to that will be the National Gallery and the National Portrait Gallery. So you can see a very nice link between, and this is a really underused space, and it's completely lost its way, no longer fit for purpose, so it's a huge opportunity for us to develop something new. So our aspiration for this area is to reinvigorate these little side streets to create an art quarter that uses the strength of these big institutions but focuses on local talent and allowing them to come forward and show their talent, but with the support of the big institutions. So there's a lot of appetite, and I think it will really regenerate this entire area and create a brand new destination in the middle of the West End.
The aim really would be to create a creative cluster. So you've got lots of new businesses, all with the ability to work together. We're in discussions about creating an innovation centre here. So it's really about creating cultural infrastructure that then increases the footfall in the area. You've got Panton Street here, which back in the days gone by was as busy as Coventry Street to the north. So it's about drawing some of that footfall down and creating that journey, the east-west-east journey, from Covent Garden through to St James and up into Mayfair. And really, again, the footfall data that we've got is this area is just so light in traffic, so it's really there's an opportunity to expand here quite a bit.
Okay, so we're coming from Leicester Square into Haymarket, which then leads into St James's Square. Majority of the ownership of these buildings is the Crown Estate. On the far side, on this side, you've got mixed ownership, and obviously we've got our theatre at the far end, New Zealand House at the other side. Again, a hugely important space, but no longer fit for purpose. Again, built for another time. We see it as a real opportunity to redevelop this space. The Crown, I'm sure they'll tell you themselves, but they see it as a great opportunity to reinvent this space with culture at its heart again. We've got our red telephone boxes, the bane of my life. I love red telephone boxes because they're synonymous with London, but when you look at the state of them, we're not allowed to touch them, neither are the council. It is entirely down to BT. We have done many audits, I'm sure in this because people like myself, custodians of areas across London, will have exactly the same challenge. We can't touch it, but we've done audits, we've demonstrated that the phones are not in use, they don't work, and instead they're used for everything but making telephone calls. We are planning to adopt these through the council, which will allow us, in the first instance, all I want to do is create a photo moment. So we will clean them up, have them painted in the traditional correct colours, lock them, so that they are photo Instagrammable moments, which for me is a huge step forward to what we've got today. So here we now are in Piccadilly Circus. I call it the West End's welcome because you have a number of streets that lead off Piccadilly Circus, so it's of no surprise that many people, especially tourists, will use this as their starting or ending point or their meeting point. It's what we describe as a place where for decades people have come to commemorate and to commiserate and to celebrate as well, and that still holds true. When there's a celebration, people do naturally arrive at this point. My opinion is we've lost our way in Piccadilly Circus. It no longer serves a purpose beyond being this meeting point. The tenant mix around it is disparate. And so we're working with the landowners here to look at what might be a better tenant mix for this area. And of course, we look at who uses the area, what do they use it for, what would they like to have, what would they use in their surrounding area. And that's the starting point. We're looking at that now and also into the future because we're building for the future. So that's the tenant mix. So we're going to try to pull together a tenant mix strategy with multiple ownership, which I think will probably be one of the first in the West End. Beyond that, we're looking at the public realm scheme itself. The Circus is and the road was built for bendy buses, but we no longer have bendy buses other than in Belfast. They're very popular. So it gives us an opportunity to again relook at this space, look at is it fit for purpose now and in the future, and if not, let's do something about it. I'm delighted to say that there's huge interest, particularly from the surrounding landowners. It's a long-term project. It will take lots of investment, and it's important that we get it right because it is, as I say, the welcome for the West End, and right now it really is not performing at its best.
Next month we're launching a whole new programme for Art of London called Art After Dark, looking at the link between late night culture and also the economic benefit for restaurants, hotels, retail in the area. Piccadilly Circus is going to be the centrepiece for that piece of work, and so we're going to be installing illuminated art pieces across the bid area and bringing art out again into the street whilst the galleries are open late night, and also we've got a fantastic event called the Gallery Hop, which we encourage the St James's galleries and the Mayfair galleries all to open late, and that started a couple of years ago, and it's grown and grown and grown. We've got talks happening, the champagne's flowing. It's a really great event, loads of lovely tours wandering around, so that's coming down the track. It's going to be really exciting. Piccadilly Circus will be the centre of that.